So just quick, I just want to make a video about a few of my favorite hair products. Lip. My sink is covered with hair products, but these are my favorite. Aunt Jackie's. And my Moringa. Keep my hair from being super duper dry. Yeah, and I want to talk about this sister I just watched. I watch Papa Duck's channel. I'm a subscriber to Papa Duck. I check them out. And she was just talking about, you know, the pandemic or crisis on fentanyl. And it reminded me of a time in my life when the state was just snatching people's children up, because if you weren't doing well at that time, this particular time, they keep a pandemic going. At this particular time, if you weren't doing well in life, it was because you were on drugs. So if you weren't doing well, then you had to be using. So I got caught in that, and while I was raising my children, so they snatched my children up into state custody. And you see how moisturized my hair still is with this regimen. This helps keep moisture in there. That lip is no joke, and I put a lot on it because it's a lot of hair. Yeah, but I got caught in that pandemic where you had to be a drug addict in order to, because you weren't doing well. And it's other situations I can remember at the time before I became fully awakened. I used to say, well, shoot, you know, it's other things going on in life besides drugs. There's other reasons why people, you know, aren't making it. You can't be a at-home mom and raising. I had a 5-year-old, and then my last 3 children were stair steps. Then I had like 3, 2, and 1. Then you got the prison system. My husband in and out of jail all the time. I mean, it's so many cracks in this system. But by the grace of God, I'm still standing, and I'm speaking for him, and I'm teaching for him, and I'm walking and I'm fighting on this battlefield. Could clip all of that off of there. Just cut it off. Helps keep things healthy. Don't pull it. And it just looked like I was always dealing with something, always having a situation that I was up against. And when she was telling her story about the fight on fentanyl, and I've had family members to talk about, you know, fentanyl is real bad where they are. It made me remember OCS and all the drugs that they put my children on to cope with a situation that wasn't even a situation. I was in an abusive relationship, so I left the state that I was in at the time, and I was on paper then, because you gotta get how you living sometimes. But anyway, husband running in and out the prison system. And I left the state. So I had to get permission to leave the state just simply because I was on probation. And do you know that they put out a warrant for my arrest, said I jumped bond, jumped bail, and expedited me, put my children in state custody, and expedited me all the way back to Tennessee. I said, this is unbelievable. Then it took me like 2.5 years to get them back because I wasn't in jail but like a week. I came back to the state I live in now, and I got my children, I got an apartment, a place to stay. The Lord provided. And I still use a brush. I see a lot of people don't use a brush no more. I still use a brush. And I don't never remember in my younger days having to put this much oil in my hair to keep it from being dry. I just don't recall that. I mean, I've always been happy with the grease, but never having to use this much grease in order to keep it together. I just don't recall it. Yeah, but I got us an apartment. It took me less than a month to regroup and shake back from that. And do you know, it took me 2 years to get my children out of state custody. They, almost 2.5. They were shipping them all over everywhere. Places it was hard for me to get to. I didn't have transportation. Oh, but I got in grind mode. I found transportation. I found a way to get to my children. It was the fight of my life. I mean, I had never been so distraught in my life. Well, I take that back because I'm going through something now. I just learned how to fight and pray. And while this lady was talking about her war on fentanyl and saying it's our government that do these things, it made me realize that it is our government, which I know it's our government. But to hear somebody else say it too, it's like a lot of confirmation. Our situations are different. She lost her son to what the government did. But they would have these children so doped up. I would catch several times where my children were just heavily sedated. You get away with putting drugs in children when all you need to do is let them come home. You keep them in this system, and all you need to do is let them come home. See, people think that God's children are perfect and judgmental. That's not what God's children are at all. God's children are people that have been in real situations and dealt with real struggle and are still standing. Yeah, I like that. See, it keeps the hair nice and healthy, and the Aunt Jackie's is what gives it that length. I think I got my shirt on backwards. I just put this shirt on so I could do my hair in it. Yeah, but yeah, I like that. My prayers go out to her and her family. I am a prayer warrior. Um, and I just want to let her know that I love her. I understand her struggle. And I have already sent the prayer up. In the mighty name of Jesus. Alright. Just want to give y'all some hair tips. And tell you my story on drugs.